There is a big difference between a God and a Lord. There is one who guides the dimension or the realm which we refer to as the realm of darkness. And there is one who guides the realm which we refer to as the realm of light.
Is the glory of God a vibration, a frequency?
Yes. It's a vibration, it's a frequency, it's a light, it's a silver ethereal cord that guides and dictates the development of your body.
Yeah.
All your 12 body processes are dictated, governed, and controlled by this divine light. The two individuals that were given the responsibility to parent you were appointed to you, given to you by Archangel Redware. Your siblings were appointed to you, gifted to you by Archangel Redware. The reason why you were born as a black person, it was a gift given to you by Archangel Redware.
All the thugs, all the mean people, the dark spirits, they're all God's children.
Yes, it's God. And that's what the Bible tells you. One man created himself in multitudes. It's God.
In a world where Africans have lost their roots, it has become of vital importance to document our ways. In an effort to reverse the brainwashing of the past, where we were made to believe our ways are demonic, we are pressed to create dignified and respectful platforms to unpack our spiritual ways. The views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of the guest and do not necessarily reflect the beliefs or position of this channel, its hosts, or affiliates. This podcast is a platform for open discussions and exploration of various perspectives, including controversial and unconventional ideas. We encourage viewers to think critically, do their own research, and form their own opinions. The content is for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be taken as fact, advice, or an endorsement of any specific viewpoint. Viewers' discretion is advised.
Moya Ulight, Moya Upright. Welcome to another episode of MOYA podcast. We have missed you guys. It's so nice to be back. Thank you. We see the numbers. It's wild. It's so humbling. It's so nice. Got a warm, fuzzy feeling. Bit of good news. We got our certificate for MOYA yesterday. So MOYA is now officially a registered trademark. Holla back. Thank you so much for helping us grow this baby. And we hope that in the future, this will be the media house, formidable black media house that is running things and things. So we are here in Gendaba's spirituality. As usual, African spirituality is what we're about. African history, African politics. MARU RAPHELA, he's going to come and give us what I suspect is going to be a beautiful episode because we're going to talk about divine creation. Hey, so what do they say? Intense, Julie.
Quality stuff.
Hey, when I saw what you wanted to talk about, I was like, oh, okay.
Yes, and thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to appear on your podcast.
Thank you for honoring the invitation.
Sure, thank you.
So let's start at the beginning. I mean, you reached out. Obviously, you were burning.
Yeah.
So what was burning you? What is it that you need us to?
Well, there are things that I wanted to share because I went through a particular podcast and someone was actually talking about the dimensional shift or the end of the world. And this person was actually warning that the dimensional shift will actually happen in September. And, people were scared and trying to find out, but is this true or not? So I thought maybe let me contact you so that, I can participate and shed some light with regard to the dimensional shift.
What is the dimensional shift? When you say dimensional, I mean...
So a dimension has through elements or through pillars. One being time or period for us to exist. No? And the second being the plane, place, or location where we exist. But plane, place, or location can be earth or celestial. And the third element is referred to as the virtue of God, which is He is bestowing unto us for us to have life. And that is also referred to as the hypothetical dimension. So those are the three elements of a dimension. So now, when there's a dimensional shift, it means that one of the three elements of a dimension is being altered, or two of them, or all three are being altered. So now, if you look at, for instance, the times of Eve and Adam, they were faced with the same situation. And Eve went to Adam and said, "Hey, Adam, I'm failing to understand why we are here. What purpose do we really serve? If you look at everything around us, they go around their businesses as if there's a certain divine hand that's controlling them, that's guiding them. If you look at, for instance, how the sun rises in the east, providing rays to all animals, to all plants, and how it consistently sets in the east, in the west, in the west, as if pulled by a certain divine force. Who's controlling this? And she says to Adam, I want to know, because have you watched how a river streams majestically downstream, as if pulled by a certain invisible force, while providing necessary water to animals, to plants, and earth? How trees goes through seasons. One season it sheds leaves, next season leaves grow back, next season fruits starts emanating on the tree. And the last season, the fruits are ready to be plucked and devoured.
Yes, harvest.
Yes, I know, man, Adam. There's a certain divine force. There's a certain invisible hand that is controlling, guiding all these things. And what if there is something that we're supposed to do, but we are not doing that? But unfortunately, our divine father, Adam, did not have the capacity to respond to Eve. So Eve was bothered. She went and sat under a tree. While she was sitting there, she fell asleep. And a certain divine, sacred serpent rose from deep of her belly. And it said to Eve, and the name of that sacred serpent is known as Gadal, is known as Lilith or Layla, or Gadariel as an angel, as Gadariel. So it says to Eve, if you have every right to be concerned, in fact, that there is a divine hand, an invisible hand that controls and guides the unfoldment of life. And that hand is the divine law of the Most High. So now Gadariel took Eve through the whole law. She taught Eve all the precepts, all the law itself, the covenants, the precepts, the statutes, the commandments, judgment and ordinances, as well as the testimonies and the word, which is the enactment of God's will pertaining to the dimension which they were in. And she says to Eve, if the reason why I emanated is that there's a dimensional shift that is fast approaching, I want to educate you. I want to prepare you. There are incantations that you should say daily for you to be able to be kept out of the loop of deception, and so that you could actually benefit from the dimensional shift. And Eve learned everything. And when she woke up, she went to Papa Adam, Bona. This is what I have been taught, and this is what we were supposed to do. The other thing that Layla actually said was that when my star rises, referring to the moon, when the two helices swap, he says there's a partitioning and expanse, which is referred to as which will grant them an opportunity to rise above the dimension. A portal, that's what I wanted to say. now they did exactly what they were instructed, and they managed to move out of that dimension. So we are approaching the same thing. But remember, we have a kind God, a considerate God, a loving God. So there is no way that we could approach the dimension without being prepared for it. God, prepared Eve. She gave Eve understanding, everything that she needed to do in order for the two to be able to benefit from the dimensional shift. She gave Noah knowledge, understanding, and an ark to be able to survive the deluge. She gave Moses knowledge, understanding, and the law for Moses to be able to lead the Israelites out of Egypt into the land of Canaan. She gave Zerubbabel knowledge and understanding and the keys to be able to haul his nation out of suffering. So there is no way that we could go through a dimensional shift without being instructed. Now, the advantage is that we have this dimension when it was created. Remember, it was modeled around the nations of Israel. So we were given two blueprints. The first blueprint is the nations of Israel. And the second blueprint is the divine intellect, which we refer to as Jesus Christ, the teacher, as the teacher. So now, the one thing that I wanted to make people aware is that later now we have been extended the same privilege. And we have been given a guide. The one whom the Bible refers to, he will rise during the end of days to lead people to paradise. He is here. And now he says to me that, look, he says he was summoned to Sheol by his mother, where he was instructed to actually bless the dead. He says that I was instructed to bless the dead, and the dead were queuing just in front of him. And he says, as I was busy blessing them, they split into two rows. He says the row on the right leaned against the wall on the right. Mm-hmm. And the row on the left leaned against the wall on the left. And he asked one of these, it was a lady, what's happening? Why are you splitting into two rows? They said, MOYA. MOYA? Says, yes. We are afraid of the Holy Spirit. And this guy, Jesus, says, but MARU says, but Holy Spirit, I want to see this Holy Spirit. And he says, while I was sitting there, a gush of wind went into me. He says, I was given the spirit, the prophetic spirit of the 70 elders. And he says, when that happened, a number flashed on my Mekaba, the iron or the third eye, the number of forgiveness of sins. He says, I was also given a seal of the end of days. I was also given the key to the mystery of the end of days. He says, it is the key of Solomon. He says, now I know the exact date when the dimensional shift will actually happen. I know how it will happen. And I know exactly why that dimensional shift should actually happen. So, supporting my assertion in saying that we have a kind God, considerate God. So there is no way that a dimensional shift can actually happen without us being given an opportunity to prepare. And we've been given an opportunity to prepare. So now, as I said, a dimension has three aspects, three key elements or three pillars. First one being time. So this thing that we say it's time, it's not really time. It is actually the divine essence of the Most High, which we refer to as Christ, or the divine power of God, which we are meant to explore and exploit in order for us to change the inclination of our grace towards liberation and salvation. in order for us to be able to amass enough grace within ourselves, because the actual currency that is required for us to be able to benefit from the dimensional shift is the glory of God. You know, I've heard people say that no. Only Christians will be given an opportunity or will benefit from the dimensional gift. Some saying there's a big ship named the Nibiru that will come and take all black people. But that's artificial intellect. That's not divine intellect, because divine intellect should actually be dictated to by the law. What does the law say? The law says that I gave you 24,000 years, 24 faces, 24 elders from the Bible. That's what the law says. The law says each face is 1,000 years, bound under two divine oaths, known as the oath of Akaye and the oath of Abaduhu. The period between the two oaths is 1,000 years, giving us 12 life cycles, where we incarnate, embody within a certain house, within the empire, the Zodiac Empire, or also referred to as the zodiac signs. And that is how all the 24 phases are actually structured. So now, everything that will happen, it has to happen according to that divine law. Now, those two oaths, these are the two oaths that dictate the unfoldment of life. And we are given two hylex, or two luminaries. Those two luminaries are the sun, which represents the oath of Akai, and the moon. Meaning that we're given an opportunity to exist within two realms. The prime and primordial realm, which we refer to as the realm of darkness, and the realm of light. This one under the hylex, which we refer to as the moon, and this one under the hylex, which we refer to as the sun. Now, the one thing that we do not know is that there is a big difference between a God and a Lord. There is one who guides the dimension or the realm which we refer to as the realm of darkness. And there is one who guides the realm which we refer to as the realm of light. And the two appointed lords. God is a guide of a dimension. Lord is a leader of races and dimension. Leader of races and dimension. Now, as I said, we've been given two blueprints. And the other blueprint, which I referred to earlier, the divine intellect, which we call Jesus, gave us an opportunity to know the names of the two gods. When it was time for Jesus to be extracted from his mother's womb, he says, I'm waiting for my star to rise. What star? You may ask, heaven, star? Which star? And he says, I'm waiting for 1919. And he says, while I was waiting, I heard my father say, son, it is time. Now Jesus had to ask her two mothers to extract her from her current dimension. And this is what he said. He said, Ima are, Zara, Zaza, Za are, Aza, Za, Zaraya, Izaraya, Razaya, Mariata, Hagita, Magita, Naima, Lilith, Laila, Hagan. And he said, Lucifer, Selin, Aten, Akaye, Elohi, Zabadi. You might have recognized the two last names, because when Jesus was asking for extraction while he was being crucified, those are the two names that the Bible mentions, Elohi, Zabadi. But those are the full names.
How do you know all this?
I passed by him. Later, I will explain to you how I know all this. So those are the names that he
Okay.
calls. So now we know the two gods, the ones that guides the two realms. So that's why they say Jesus' mother is Mary, because it's Ima Ari, which is mother of the lion. We call Jesus the Lion of Judah. So Ima Ari, Za Ari, mother of the Lion of Judah.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So now the two mothers were given an opportunity to summon their son out of.
Why two mothers?
Because of the two realms.
Oh, the moon and the sun.
Yes.
Okay.
Now I get in terms
Yes,
of our
yes,
essence, spiritual
yes,
essence.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
No. So now, the mother from the realm of darkness was the first to actually summon her son out, and this is what she says. She says, "Know it, Aru," meaning the son of darkness, and she says, "Nathanael," meaning I am giving you a gift of life, and she says, "Nataha," to expand beyond your dimension, and she says, "Nahashon." When she says Nahashon, a sacred serpent rose within Jesus' belly. Now, it was Zara or Ima Ari's opportunity to summon her own son. And this is what she said. She says, Elohim Iva Raku, meaning Elohim Barachel. And she says, Rahayel, Ari, the lion, Ari Eli, the lion of God, however, have life. And she said, Amaru, which is a sacred serpent of light, which brings life to this world. So we're privileged. Those are the names that they used to actually summon Jesus out of Mary's belly. So now we know the names of the two gods that rule the two realms. So now, what is it that we benefit from the two highlights? It's a divine synthesis, a divine, superior, supernal synthesis known as Christ, also known as the divine law of the Most High, or the divine Torah, or the divine Pharaoh, or the divine law of Pharaoh, constituted of 7 pillars, or 7 points within the circle of creation. The first pillar is the pillar of wisdom or understanding. The second pillar is forethought, which talks to conceptualization as well as simulation. Let's say, for instance, you're sitting at home, you decide, I want to have a nice steak, and this is how I'm going to prepare it. It's a concept.
Yes.
It's a concept, conceptualization as well as simulation. Now, the third pillar is creation. Creation is exploring and exploiting cosmic resources in order to create. The fourth pillar is known as the pillar of animation, the pillar of experience, or being human. Life is known as Eve, Hava. And the fifth pillar is the pillar of destruction. Destruction can be change of form, or absolute termination, death, or a dimensional shift. The sixth pillar is known as the pillar of afterthought, meaning consolidating all cosmic resources. And the last pillar is the pillar of peace. Remember, on the 7th day, God rests. So that is the pillar of peace. So those are the 7 core pillars contained within this divine essence, which we refer to as Christ. And Christ at that level.
Where would you get this information, though? Like these pillars and Christ? And it's a question I was going to ask you, but you coming at us with an interpretation of the Bible, ne?
Yes.
And it's not the black and white.
Yes.
So we're trying to unpack
Yes.
how you are and how should we be looking at the Bible.
Yes.
Because you were talking about Adam and Eve and the snake. Because Tina, we took it as the literal snake coming to talk and a
It's-
talking snake.
Yes.
So can you?
It's a sacred serpent. Remember, if you go to Genesis 1, verse 26, when the seven Elohims are in the process of creating human beings, they said, let us create men in our own image, in our own similitude, so that they can have dominion over birds in the sky, fish in the sea, and they said, and over the sacred serpent. Which serpent were they referring to? And which animals are we supposed to control? What grants us life? Where do we get this energy from? From the sacred serpent to sacred serpent that are within us. The Bible, the way that is written, it's written as a multidimensional document.
Oh my.
And one of the things that God did in order to perpetuate this order of deception is that He took us from our original language, which is Hebrew, and gave us these other languages, 70 languages. Now we are lost, but the original, the divine Torah, is actually written in Hebrew. And the divine Torah, that is somewhere else, not the one that we have here, actually contains a set of instructions or summons or commands that God used to command life into existence. It tells you each and every step and activity and process undertaken by God to sustain us, to create us, and to make sure that we evolve. So all this truth is actually hidden within the Bible itself. So everything that I'm telling you, it's something that I will be able to share with you and show that this thing is actually captured within the Bible, but it was kept secret in order to ensure that the order of deception is perpetuated and the 24,000 period is kept as it should, as prescribed by the divine law. Is it okay?
Yes.
Yes.
It's because some of these concepts are familiar. There's an episode that we have with Black God that covers this, and even this 24,000 and the Israelite tribes and stuff.
Yes.
So it's kind of connecting. So
Yeah,
you
okay.
are helping us. Yeah. So, yes.
Yes. So now the divine synthesis, as I had earlier alluded to, it has 7 pillars. And then at that level, it's known as Christ. This is Christ. Yeah, it's Christ.
But what is Christ?
I'm going to teach you Christ.
Okay.
At the end of this show,
Okay.
you will have Christ.
Okay.
You will know Christ.
Okay.
So this is Christ, which is the divine law that governs, dictates, and controls the unfoldment of life. The order, the sequence, the natural unfoldment of life, it's actually governed by this. The conception of a child, fertilization, as well as the maturity of the fetus is governed by this law. The date of birth of a child, death of a child, the two individuals chosen by the divine law to father or mother that child is dictated by the divine law. The siblings, number of siblings, the order of siblings is dictated to by the divine law. The community in which you emanate is guided by the divine law. Your spiritual composition, your spiritual charism, your spiritual purpose is guided by the divine law. The reason why you are here is guided and dictated to by this divine synthesis, which we refer to as Christ. So Christ at that level, he is referred to as the divine law of the Torah, the divine law of the Most High, or he is known as the light of Torah. And the other name is Zaraka Torah, which means the light of the Torah. He is also known as the brilliance and the luminance of the Pharaoh, or Pharaoh, or Lucifer. Pharaoh, which is the luminance and the brilliance of Pharaoh, which is the divine law.
Now you're mentioning Lucifer, and we have learned that Lucifer is the devil, is Satan.
No. There's nothing like that. Unfortunately, the misinformation had to happen for the order of deception to be sustained for the period. If you say Lucifer is the devil, and we emanate from a light which trickles down from Adoniram to Lucifer and Gabriel, and we say Gabriel is Jesus is the son of Gabriel. But what is Gabriel? Gabriel is Adoniram, Lucifer, Gabriel, same person. So why do we like Jesus and hate Lucifer? Why do we fear Lucifer? Why do we fear the law? The reason why they had to create that misconception is that so that we can be ignorant, remain in a state which is referred to as unconscious ignorance, not even aware that there is a law because the law was concealed from us.
I'm confused because I'm assuming Lucifer would represent our shadow side, our
the light.
Jealousy.
It's light.
So where do we put
light.
the bad things that happen in life?
I'm going to try and touch on that. But
Okay.
there is nothing like bad. Remember.
What about somebody?
No. Remember everything that happens in life. We always say that we've got a mighty God, a powerful God, and everything that happens around us is something that is dictated by God. But when something happens that we perceive as God, as bad, because of judgment, we say, I Satan.
Yes. Kibaloi.
Yeah, Kibaloi.
Exactly.
You understand that?
So then?
And that's absolute, There's nothing like that. Everything that happens within this lifetime is dictated to by God. It was written in the book of light by God for the transmutation of karma. Everything that happens to us happens so that we can grow in spirit, grow in understanding. Or if life was smooth, we wouldn't look for God. We wouldn't pray. So there are events that were prescribed within our lives to ensure that we look for God. No matter how bad they are, but you need to be able to say that, hey, it's God. You understand that? But unfortunately, because of the misinformation, we were taught we should fear. There's bad, there's good, and evil. In fact, there's a story that I will relate to you in order to try and clarify that. Yeah. So now we have this divine synthesis which is given to us. Remember, we're still in the process of actually unpacking the element which we refer to as time, which is the divine synthesis of God. Now, if you go to Numbers, the book of Numbers, chapter 1, verse 2, God summons Moses and Aaron and says, hey, I want you to take a census, count the nation of Israel and come back and give me a tally. Remember, the nations of Israel were given to us as a blueprint. All our provisions, everything, the unfoldment of our life, all the scripts were written based on the nations of Israel. And that's what the Bible says that.
Who are the nations of Israel?
Previous races, previous ascended races.
Okay.
Yes, that keeps on evolving. We are the nations of Israel, but we keep on evolving in time. So now the tally that Moses and Aaron reports to the Lord, it's 603,550, but the actual tally is 604,880. 604,800. Yeah, 604,800. Now, perhaps you are wondering how did they get there, or why is that important? Now, if you take your calculator or your phone, say we have 7 days in a week. We have 24 hours in a day. We have 60 minutes in an hour, and we have 60 seconds in a minute. It gives you 60488, which is the total capacity of the divine essence which we refer to Christ, which is ushered or bestowed unto us so that we can have life within the realm of light. It's resources. It's God's power that we're supposed to explore and exploit. I know because of we are in the state of unconscious ignorance. To us it's time. But that is the most important resources which we should actually explore and exploit in order to ensure that we are able to benefit from the dimensional shift. Bona, the only equity required for us to move to the next dimension is the glory of God. Not a ticket. And as I said, I heard people saying that only Christians will be. But all of us,
Of course.
we benefit from this essence.
Is the glory of God a vibration, a frequency?
Yes. It's a vibration, it's a frequency, it's a light, it's a silver ethereal cord that guides and dictates the development of your body.
Yeah.
All your 12 body processes are dictated, governed, and controlled by this divine light. So everyone who exists within this dimension exists within this divine essence which we refer to as Christ. Christ is not an option. Christ is not like, for instance, if you travel from Pretoria to Cape Town, mid the trip, there's a food cart that comes, they ask you chicken or beef. Chicken or beef. Christ is not chicken or beef. It's not something that you can opt out of for. It's the divine vibration, it's the divine light, it's the divine essence of the Most High that facilitates the unfoldment of life.
Yes.
So if someone says that only Christians will be taken or will be able to benefit from the dimensional shift, that's artificial intellect. That's not divine intellect. So now...
So you're telling me all the thugs, all the mean people, the dark spirits, they're
a-
all God's children.
yes, it's God. And that's what the Bible tells you. One man created himself in multitudes. It's God. Now, we need to gather understanding. I know, like you, I had judgment. And that's why I'm saying later there's a story that will make this clear. So that's 604,800. It's the divine synthesis, which we refer to as Christ. To us, it's time. 7 days in a week, representing the 7 Elohims, representing the 7 distinct essences of the Godhead, which we refer to as Christ. If you take the 604,800 divided by 7, you get 86,400, which actually represents 86,400 divine capsules of God, the divine capsules that contains the divine essence of God that we're supposed to explore and exploit in order to change the inclination of our grace into a life which perpetuates the attainments of liberation as well as salvation. We're supposed to use that essence to make sure that we become the full embodiment of Christ or the vicars of Christ, because that is the requirement for us to be able to change, to move from one dimension to the other. So now, 7 days, 7 distinct essences. And within a day, we have 24 hours, 24 elders, 24 archpriests of the Church of Christ, or 24 manifestations of Christ. So I'm going to give you their names. The first one, the most perfected emanation of Christ, is known as Archangel Achatriel Yah Yehod Sabaoth. That is the highest manifestation of Christ. So his name is Achatriel Yah Yehod Sabaoth. And now, he also represents, when a woman goes through that process, conception, fertilization, as well as maturity of the zygote, I get it where it turns from a cystoplast to a cell which is divided into two through the process which is referred to as mitosis.
Yes.
The two cells will have 23 chromosomes. Now the
Yes.
24 elders represents those chromosomes. Now I'm going to give you their names now. So Akatrialia is the first chromosome, containing 249 million DNA building blocks and 2,100 genes. It's a Catrilia Sabaoth. And the second is Anaphiel, Archangel Anaphiel. Archangel Anaphiel or Acatriel emerged from the oath which I referred to as earlier. The oath of Akai. Acatriel Akai. So Anaphiel, the second divine manifestation which occupies the second seat within the Church of Christ, is Archangel Anaphiel, who emerged under an oath which is referred to as the oath of Anabona, which is the multiplier. When God commanded life into angels, the last command that he used in order to cause the division or to grant them life was Anabona. It was Anabona. He said Anabona. So that's the second seat. The third divine emanation of Christ, or the archpriest of the Church of Christ, seated on the third seat of the Church of Christ, is known as Archangel Azabuga or Azabugel. Azabuga, when Jesus was requesting extraction, that is one of the names that he mentioned when he said Aza. That's Azabuga. And the fourth seat within the Church of Christ is occupied by an individual, the most important. We call him the creator God, Barachiel. Bara means creator. Ki means the life force. Eli means God, the creator of the life force, Barachiel. So now the current reigning Christ, the one who has descended to earth, Maru, Peniel, Kemuel, is the son of Barachiel. In the etheric state, Kemuel occupies the fifth seat of the Church of Christ. And I just want to relay a story with regards to Kemuel. I was given an opportunity to rise as Uriel. I went to the Church of Christ and I stood by the door. There are two elders that were guarding the door. The one on the right is Sandalphon, and the guard on the left is Archangel Metatron. I wanted to go into the church, but Sandalphon blocked me. He says, "You cannot go into the Church of Christ." I say, "Why?" He says, "You do not have enough grace, enough glory to enter the Church of Christ." I said, "But I worship the same God which you serve." And the doors behind him swung open, and he swiftly slid aside. And I went into the Church of Christ. When I went into the Church of Christ, there's 12 priests on the left, 12 archpriests on the left, and there's 12 priests on the right. And I could see the throne from a distance. But what caught my attention was one of the archpriests was actually leaning over a pot. And I said, I just want to ask this guy, what is he looking at? And I went to him. I said, "What are you looking at?" He says, "I am looking at prayers." "Prayers?" He says, "Yes, but I see seawater here." He says, "Yes, son. I have been given the power to extract prayers from the essence of the sea." From the essence of the sea. He says, "Yes, son. I read prayers from the essence of the sea." I said, "Oh, okay. But then what do you do with the prayers?" He says, "Now, I have to translate the prayers in Enochian to the one who's sitting in the throne." I says, "Oh, okay. And what does he do with these prayers?" And he says, "The guy sitting on the throne, or the angel sitting on the throne, has the power to change prayer to fire, then from fire to light, then up the Keter. Then showers and showers and showers of prosperity and abundance falls to earth." I said, "Yeah, abundance?" He says, No, I've been praying to God." I said, "Son, I do not listen to anything that you say with your mouth." I said, "Why?" He says, "Because of the order from whence you emerged. you emerged from the order of deception. Everything that you say with your mouth is out of pure, utter ignorance. You know nothing. You understand nothing. But your body and the essence of sea emerged from the highest oath. So that's why I listen to the essence of the sea, not your mouth. So now the reason why I was actually relaying that story is because the guy who was leaning over the pot, the one who's decoding prayers, is Archangel Samuel, which is the Christ that has descended. So he's the interceder of our prayers, but not what we say. He says, I listen to your body. I listen to your essence, because that never lies. But your mouth, because of ignorance, I do not listen to anything.
It can't be trusted.
It cannot. It said it cannot be trusted. You see?
Yes.
So that's why I was actually relating that story to you. So the sixth seat is occupied by Archangel Khalil, the angel of strife, of suffering, which I told you it's necessary for us to go through challenges so that we can be reformed and look for God. So his name is Kali, the Hindu god named as Kali. That's the guy. So the seventh seat in the Church of Christ is occupied by a divine intellect known as Archangel Galgaleo, who is the chief of the order of Galgalium. They are the judges. He's the god of judgment. And later I'm going to relay a story. Ne? And the eighth seat is occupied by an individual, a divine intellect, or the manifestation of Christ known as Archangel Haniel, the god of love. And the ninth seat is occupied by Archangel Uriel. Archangel Uriel, he is the owner of all esoteric schools. He is the one that gives education to all spiritual seekers or light seekers. And now the story that I wanted to relate is that I was also given an opportunity to actually have a chat with the one sitting on the throne. So, but I said to him, but I thought I was going to see an angel, but I'm seeing a fireball. He says, son, the reason why you see a fireball and not a beautiful angel is because I've got two horns. The horn on the right represents love, pure love, uncorrupted love. And the horn on the left represents judgment. Now, judgment stifles love.
Yes.
When love is stifled, the result is that bowl of light, or the fireball. He says, now, son, you have to be able to love without judgment. You have to be able to learn to love without judgment. He said to me, I am going to give you an opportunity to experience pure love, uncorrupted love. And I was given an opportunity to exist in a dimension of pure love, there is love, God's love. Pure, unconditional love. And he says to me, that is love, guys. That is love. So now, you were brought here so that you gain understanding. That all the challenges that you have as human beings is that you want perfection in an imperfect world, in an order of deception. You are judgmental, because if you were not judgmental, son, you were going to be able to see the most beautiful angel. Now, the horn of love is represented by that seat number 8 in the Church of Christ, Archangel Haniel. And the horn on the left, which is the horn of judgment, is represented by that seat number 7 in the Church of Christ, or Archangel Galgaleo. And he said, behind me, what is hiding is understanding, which is seat number 9, Archangel Yophiel. And the fire is the one which we refer to as the cherubim, or Yotam, or Archangel Yehuel. If you go to the book of Ezekiel, the book of Zechariah, they speak about the cherubim. So his name is Archangel Yehuel, or Yatam. He's the one that occupies the 10th seat in the Church of Christ. The 11th seat in the Church of Christ is occupied by a divine intellect known as Archangel Metatron, the sacred serpent, the sly snake. It's Archangel Metatron, or Metaturan. You remember when I wanted to move into the church, there were 2 supreme individuals, Archangel Sandalphon and Archangel. So the 11th seat is Archangel Metatron. Now, the last seat within the realm of light in the Church of Christ, occupying the 12th seat, is Archangel Raguel. So the book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 6, when God summons and expands a firmament, a separator, that separator is known as the Rakia, a divider. Archangel Raguel represents the separator. That separates man from divinity, or the turnstiles, or the separator that turns God into man. So now, those are the 12 manifestations of Christ within the realm of light. Now, I'm going to the realm of darkness. We have 12 more. So the first divine intellect within the realm of darkness, the realm of darkness, I'm referring to the moon.
Yes.
Ne?
Yes.
Is known as Kadesh Sin, or Kadesh. When the Jewish congregants say Kadosh, 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 this is the person or the divine intellect that they're actually referring to. She has so many names. She is known as Nana, Nana Suwen, Nanara Sin, Ashi Bambara, Dili Bambara, Erish Kegal, Inu, Amesembi, Maui. She is known as Diana, Celine, Luna, Mene, Phoebe, Hecate. That's her name. That's the deity that rules the dimension which we refer to as the realm of darkness. The 14th seat within the Church of Christ is occupied by a divine intellect known as Archangel Raduariel. The most intelligent being that I have ever come across. This is the guy that knows every single thing about us. This is the guy that decides our time of birth, our time of death. This is the guy that gives us our names. You might think that you were given your names by your parents. No. You were given your names by Archangel Raduariel. The 2 individuals that were given the responsibility to parent you were appointed to you, given to you by Archangel Raduariel. Your siblings were appointed to you, gifted to you by Archangel Raduariel. The reason why you were born as a black person, it was a gift given to you by Archangel Raduariel. The reason why you were born in Africa, it was a gift gifted to you by Archangel Raduariel. Everything pertaining to your life, your entire existence within this dimension is dictated to by Archangel Raduariel. He is also known as Safariel Vrater. He owns the book of life. There are 2 books. There is or 2 records that records all the good deeds, and there's what we refer to as where we fell short. It's not a sin, where we fell short. Yes. Lessons that we still have to learn. No. And our life is actually modeled around lessons which we have to learn. So, Sofariel Vretel, or Archangel Raduariel, is the keeper of those records. The 15th seat is occupied by a divine intellect known as Archangel Raziel. Now, Archangel Raziel, there are other esoteric institutions that says that he's the one that taught Adam everything that Adam knew. But in fact, Eve was taught. Eve taught Adam.
Hey!
No, Eve taught Adam. Not the other way around. Eve taught Adam.
So why do they say Eve came from the rib?
Those stories, leave those things. The order of deception. The order of deception. So you are being deceived. Now it is time for us to search for the truth, gain understanding so that we can have the privilege of moving between dimensions. So the 14th seat is Archangel Raziel. When Jesus was requesting extraction, it's one of the names that he actually called. He says Zaraya, Azariah, Razaya. It's Archangel Raziel. The 15th seat is occupied by the divine intellect known as Archangel Rikabiel. He's the one that owns the Merkaba, the flower of life, the pentacle of Solomon.
The third eye.
Yes, the third eye, as well as this thing which we refer to as the thalamus, or the guard room of Yosef.
What's the thalamus? It's a part of the brain.
Part of the brain, yes.
Which governs what?
I will give you.
Sorry.
Yes, I will give you that.
Yes.
So now he owns that. He's the one that controls that. And so the 16th seat is occupied by it's Archangel Rikabiel. That's the one that I was actually alluding to. And the 17th seat is occupied by a divine intellect known as Archangel Mehael or Archangel Michael. His other name is Who. The reason why we are called human, the children of Who, that is you. That is Who. Archangel Mehael. That is Who. I'm going to relay a story later. And now, the 18th seat is occupied by Archangel Samael, which represents the grace, the one that makes us mess up. It's Archangel Samael. And the 19th
Is that the angel of mistakes?
He owns the grace. The grace. The ones that makes us err. Right? So that we continue existing within the order
Humble.
of deception. Yes.
Yeah.
Now the 18th seat within the Church of Christ is occupied by a divine intellect referred to as Archangel Iyanahum, also known as Ya'anuwan, Zerubbabel, the most important divine intellect. And the 20th seat is occupied by Archangel Zuriel, or the altar. I'm just quickly rushing through them. The 21st seat is occupied by Archangel Iafafia, who is the divine consort of Yophiel, seat number 9. They are the two that runs the esoteric schools. I'm from the ancient mystic order of Melchizedek. There's the Kemet and so on. There's other mystic.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm from the ancient mystic order of Melchizedek. And the 22nd seat is occupied by a divine intellect known as Archangel Zagzagel, wisdom. And the 23rd seat is occupied by a divine intellect known as Sandalphon, Archangel Sandalphon, which is the Christ who ascended with the previous race, known as Elijah. Elijah means Lord God. Lord God. And the 24th seat is the one that is vacant. That is why when we pray, we say, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Not hallowed. No, hallowed be thy name, because it's empty. Waiting for the one who is to rise, which is the current rising, the current ascended Christ, known as MARU, or Zion, or Emmanuel, or Zachariah Dordor, or Penuel, or Raguel, or Kemuel, so many names, or Malachi Zodok, the book, the last book of the Old Testament, Malachi. It's Malachi Zodok or Melchizedek. You remember when there was a time in the Bible where I think Abram came back from defeating a certain nation, and he came across this divine intellect. He said, "Oh, I know this guy is divine," and he committed and said, "I'm going to give you 10% of everything that I collect from the nations of Israel from now on, because you are divine." He was referring to this divine intellect, Melchizedek, which is the one that descended now, will exist within this dimension with us. So now you have the two manifestations of Christ. I told you, I'm going to give you Christ. Now you know Christ. That is Christ. And then which is actually a divine essence or divine entities that we should tap into in order to gain the divine intellect required for us to amass enough glory, which is the equity which is required for us to be able to move from this order of deception.
In the Christian context, and I don't mean the Christianity that's part of the deception, I'm talking about this one, the Bible, Christ consciousness.
Yeah.
Is this relationship you're talking about the same as how someone who practices African spirituality would view Amadlozi Angels?
Yes.
It's the same concept.
It's the same concept.
Okay.
But you have to know, like for instance, Amadlozi. You have to know Amadlozi. You have to know them.
Yes.
And the challenge that we have is that, in the olden days, like Twasa, for instance, we were not supposed to go to Chabalala and Twasa there. In fact, the whole intellect was left with Rakadi. When I experienced challenges, Rakadi knew exactly why I'm experiencing challenges. And she had all the practices required in order to ensure that I am able to actually use my power. But unfortunately now the Rakadis say, they are no longer doing that or no longer playing that role. So, but the Rakadi will be able to tell you that we have 12 Amadlozi that are sitting around the table. You represent the fourth one. And this is the power of the fourth one. And this one, his strongest element was earth. So this one, when he had to go and conduct a ritual or a session, used to go to caves because he has an earth element. And when he goes to the cave, he doesn't take a candle or water because the channel that allows him to link to Idlozi is of earth nature, or it's from the essence of earth. When he goes to the river, he doesn't take a candle. No. He knows, he respects the river because he knows that the river has its own power. So what we used to learn from Borakadi was how do we ask for knowledge and understanding from the river? How do we learn from the river? And Borakadi, they would tell you, this is how you open the channel. These are the names that you say.
Yes.
And son, when you go to the river, you're not going to teach the river anything. You're going to learn from the river. Go there, say these names, and listen. If you fall asleep, but you will wake up with all the answers that you need or the healing that you require. You are not going there to minister to the river. You understand that? So that is why we were actually initiated by our own families. We didn't go to Shabalala or anyone. No. We were initiated because they would know, Raiwena, you represent the seventh one. You are much more powerful. And then this is what you should do. When I should use fire. When you use fire, you open a channel within you. Remember, a human being is composed of 4 essences, 4 natural elements. So when you communicate with fire, you open a channel that gives you access to fiery beings, referred to as the salamanders. So now, unfortunately, that knowledge has been lost.
Yes.
And that is why now people would say, hey, can I learn MOYA? But they go for this initiation, but unfortunately when they come back, they can't prophesy, they can't heal. Not that they do not have the right power, but it's because the actual divine intellect that was actually used to ensure that, or to help those with this spiritual power has been lost. So it's like Wainaso. You need to know, or out of the 24 manifestations of Christ, in the realm of light and in the realm of darkness, which one am I connected to? In essence, you're saying, who is my God? I want to know my God. I want to know who I am in the ethereal dimension.
How would you
Not
know
in
then?
That is what I teach. That is what I
You get
teach.
to know the person's.
Yes, one of the, when I said that one of the things that we do for our light seekers is that we give you your spiritual charism, spiritual composition. We tell you who you are spiritually, not ithakazelo.
Yes.
It won't help you. But we give you, it does help. Sorry for saying that. But we teach you your spirituality, your essence, your God in you.
Yeah.
And we tell you, this is your God. You have to know the law from whence you emerged. You have to know the covenant. You have to know the precepts. You have to know the statutes. You have to know the commandments. You have to know the testimonies. And you have to know the word, which is the enactment of God's will. Once you have that understanding, then you will be a full vicar of Christ, meaning that your ethereal cord will be strengthened.
Sure.
So part of the requirements for us to be able to move from one dimension to the other is that we need to gather that knowledge. We need to establish a relationship with our gods. Now, as Maru said, we have been given an opportunity to prepare. And there is something that I wanted to share with you. I need about to do that. Mm-hmm. The Bible says to us that light was actually summoned out of the sea. You remember that? Now, no one tells us where the sea is or what the Bible is actually referring to.
Yes.
The sea they're referring to is the constellation of Aquarius. Aqua means water.
Oh, snap.
Aquarius.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
The light or the essence that sustains us, that creates and dictates and controls this dimension is from the constellation of Aquarius. Now, if you go to the Bible, it says the Spirit of God was hovering over the deep. It doesn't give you the name of the Spirit of water. But if you use the Tanakh or the Torah, the Spirit that hovers over the water is known as Peniel, Archangel Peniel. You might recall Job in the book of Genesis, chapter 32, verse 30, wrestles with an angel. And after wrestling with the angel, he names that place Peniel, Archangel Peniel, referring to the spirit that emanates from this. Mm. Now, the 24 elders that I alluded to earlier, these are the 24 elders.
Okay.
Yes, and this is the first one. His name is Sadal Malik. Ne?
So when we speak about the 24 elders, is it then a star constellation? Because you talked about Aquarius.
Yes.
And the
Remember, it's light. We need light to exist. We need the essence from the cause, from the universe for us to exist.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So
okay.
now, this is Sadal Malik. Ne? It's this star. It is also known as the treasure trove of God. Kasepedi, when we pray, because when we say Ramasedi Apologo, this is Ramasedi Apologo, the treasure trove of God. So he represents the first seat within the Church of Christ. And this is known as Sadal Sayyid. which is the second seat in the Church of Christ. Archangel Acatriel Ya Yehod Sabaoth. And Archangel Anaphiel. This is the second seat. Ne? And the third seat is here Sadaqbia.
Why don't we do this for episode 2?
You want us to do
Yes, because
okay.
we've already got all the 24
Elders.
light and dark
Yeah.
that we've got to unpack.
Yes.
Because I know they're going to sit down and write their notes and unpack.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go into this for the next
Next episode. Okay,
That's
sure.
fine with you,
It's
ne?
fine. Yes, it's fine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Before you go, you said this is what you teach people. Do you have a school?
Yes. The challenge that we have with the esoteric schools is that our principal is very strict. Archangel Yophil is very, very strict. You are always a student to him, no matter how knowledgeable you might think you are.
Yes.
So it's only now that I have been afforded an opportunity to actually set up something. So each and everything that I've related to you now, this is exactly the service that I will be offering.
And I'm going to put your contact details here.
You have to put
I
it. Yes,
absolutely will.
Yes.
Yo,
Yes.
Dr. Maru, this was so interesting.
Sure.
And the thing is, a lot of it flew over my head, but I know that my audience is very smart. I know that there are people there who know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
So Ren will arrange for you to come in next week so we continue the lesson. I guess.
Thank you.
It's been such a...
And thank you for giving me the opportunity to appear on the MOYA podcast. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Kamakwini, guys, umoya ulight, umoya upright. Oh my gosh, so much information. Please, guys, rewind, get a pen and paper, and now let's write, because that was a lot of information and it's important for us to know that, damn, there's no such thing as sin. Thank God. Oh my God. Thank you too for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Members, I see you. Members, hello. Thank you very much for helping us keep the lights on. We are definitely growing and your investment will pay off soon. We'll see you again next time.
Who are you when all you were has been diluted by lies and white lines cancelling out all that which has been written of your history? Why do you look at yourself as a mystery? Doesn't the sun shine because you open your eyes? Doesn't the moon stay situated within the same stars your DNA sparkles off? Your spirit knows that surely corner into e off. Buza umoya so you may return to being well off. Because spiritually you are rich, yet your ancestors cry because you are out of reach. But yours is to command all elements while God takes inspiration from the very mirror she looked at to become. Remember who you are and never finish just when they think that with you they are done.